wanted to show you how I compensate or actually fix this joke, which is usually happens when we are changing from one color to another when knitting in the round. This is how my wrong side of knitting looks in process. I do not cut the yarn in process, or do not hide or fix yarn ends yet. I leave quite long loops of yarn while moving main or contrast color up from stripe to stripe. When my sweater is completed, or at least a few stripes are completed, I can start fixing this joke, adjusting stitches and hiding my yarn ends. But before I show you how I do it, I'd like to explain what leads me to my method of fixing joke at the end of knitting and not in the process. If we look at knitting in the round from technical point of view, we move the yarn up a bit at the beginning of each round. It changes the shape of last stitch of the last round a little bit and tighten it. But we can't see this change when knitting with just one color. However, when we start knitting stripes and changing colors from time to time, our eye can notice this shift and some deformation of stitches. When we are drawing yarn up from stripe to stripe behind the knitting, we tighten and changing stitches even more. And also we pull the stitches slightly up. So we start to see this difference even better. In ideal situation, to keep all stitches even and without any deformation, we need to start every round with a new piece of yarn and make a knot joining beginning and end of each round. It's not practical, but what we can do is to start each stripe with a new piece of yarn. So my idea is to knit each stripe with a new yarn and then adjust beginning and end of first and last round of stripe by leveling stitches a bit up and down. So what we actually need to do, we need to make sure that that our both yarns are at the same level. So we need to move those stitches slightly down and bring blue stitches slightly up. If we're looking at our wrong side, our yarns need to be tightened a little bit, and because blue yarn is over top, this end should go to the strand of light yarn from the top down, and the light gray yarn should go to the blue stitch from the bottom up. So what I'm actually doing, using my tapestry needle, I'm making stitch, trying to fix my yarn, and I do the same with the blue yarn. It goes from right side to the next stitch of light color, and you can see it's moving to the position. No more gaps or steps or whatever you call it. So my next step, I'm making knot, so you can see and weaving in my yarn. I do the same with the light color yarn. I will hide it in light gray stitches. Now I need to repeat the same steps for my second pair of yarn ends. So here I'm going to cut my yarn in the middle